Ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering, how do we top what we saw last night on Sportswire Radio when it came to the real deal Anthony Steele? Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to top it here and some because our guest tonight not only backs it up outside the ring, inside the ring, he has become quickly one of my favorites over at our very, very beloved company, Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And you might want to say, with the spring like weather here across most of the country and here in the Big Apple, they kind of unofficially sprung ahead and started their season this afternoon. Our guest is going to talk about it because he was actually in the ring earlier today, and he's also going to be in the ring ahead very soon, and he's going to talk about that. He is also a man with a very, very impressive resume inside the ring and outside the ring. Inside the ring, earlier this year, he is actually the only person to have ever made CJ the Alpha Junt tap out. He's going to talk about that. And he's also technically still undefeated because no one in his career has actually made him tap or pinned him. He's also going to share his own journey, which has taken him to Oklahoma, to where we are currently in Legendary Backyard Wrestling, plus the season that is certainly about to start. And I have no doubt this man's journey is going to definitely prove why all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio, and will always support those that go out there and do it because they love it. Ladies and gentlemen, because it's his first time here on Sportswire Radio, he has to get that introduction that so many of his colleagues Legendary Backyard Wrestling, whether it's the likes of the man he actually made tap out, the Alpha, CJ Junt, the Welster from PBS, and of course, Hall of Famer from the Backyard Wrestling Nexus, the one and only Chris Aruda, because he is not only Legendary Backyard Wrestling's badass, the American badass. He physically and literally is an American badass. I might actually tell you why. He is going to become Sportswire Radio's badass, and he'll prove it tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it and give him an introduction that everybody else is waiting for, and I'm waiting to do it, so let's get right to it. So, with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one, terrible sports show. The man who's technically undefeated, the badass of Legendary Backyard Wrestling, the American badass, and maybe very well Sportswire Radio's badass. His name is simply put, my friend, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Another day in paradise. I'm live on Sportswire Radio. Certainly getting ready to talk with you, my friend. I'm really excited to have you on here. We were certainly speaking a lot off the air the past few weeks, and obviously got a chance to actually watch you in the ring. I'm going to make you chuckle. I actually made it home in time just to get a chance to watch you in the ring. I think I messaged you on Facebook a little while ago, and I had just enough time to catch you in the ring. We might even show it here live on Sportswire Radio for a little bit. I also have something I'd like to present to you in a little while, but a lot to get into here. But Napalm, it is certainly a pleasure. And there's a lot to talk about here on Sportswire Radio. As always, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, Napalm, let's start in a way that was good things to kick off 2024. as you successfully returned here in the kind of maybe prelude to the unofficial start of the legendary Backyard Wrestling season, where you actually became the only person to have made CJ the Alpha Junt tap out, and talk about what that meant to you in your return to legendary Backyard Wrestling.
Well, it meant everything to me, everything, especially since I had to be gone and stuff like that. And he just kept running his mouth. He just kept running and it, kept running and kept running it. And the thing is the one thing that me and him talked about a lot, especially back and forth with all the shit talk that we did, is um that I was going to make him tap. And he told me that was never going to happen. He's never tapped out to anybody.
I
To
know that was something
anybody.
that was a big topic, and I think
Mhm.
trying to remember, CJ was here a couple times, and I feel like he might have even said that here on Sportswire at some point. So the fact that you did that, especially with the history you guys had, obviously you were aligned with him at one time. You were basically his body point man or body man. I don't want to say bodyguard, but definitely his body guy. And you were certainly there helping him get to the success that he regained. And then we saw what happened between you and him, and then you obviously stepped away from the ring at legendary Backyard Wrestling, but you
Mhm.
came back and you made him in a big way remember that he was forced to tap for the first and only time maybe in his career.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it was all the crap talk that he just kept saying, and the thing is I just don't take that lightly,
Well,
especially when
obviously with your
yeah.
background, with your background, I could certainly see that. So let me ask you this question because it's always interesting. I speak with a lot of people all the time from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, and did it fuel you kind of what he was saying and maybe how he was coming across, especially, in without your presence being around the company in the second half of 2023? Did that fuel you and gave you that right opportunity to kind of come back and return in the ring? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, it did because it's just like when he brought me on in the first place, it was for me to help
Absolutely.
him to keep the championship on his side. And and I tried everything to make sure to keep that championship
You
on him.
definitely did. No, there's no
But
question about it.
yeah, but the thing is though, is like, what am I supposed to do with the taser, And then getting tased and then going down, and then it's all my fault because I got tased and I'm out for the count. And and then he just hated me after that point. And then still, no matter what, every single loss, even after I was gone,
I
it was
know.
always it was always my fault. It always started with me. The reason why he was on a losing streak, the reason why that he couldn't do the things that he did before, it was all because of me. And so yeah, it filled me inside. It filled me deep
Let
down.
me ask you this question, and maybe in a way, and let's kind of set the tables for the audience. In a way, maybe he blamed you for his own shortcomings because of that one match. Do you feel that that's kind of why it all he blamed you for moments that you weren't necessarily a part of because of what happened with him losing the championship? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. Be, it was just basically because of him, because he was on like this winning streak when he
Yep,
had the championship. He was
I
on this
remember.
huge winning streak.
We had him on
And
here, right? I think right before he lost the title, if I recall correctly. If I recall, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
and after, since he lost it, it was just all downhill. It went from match after match, even for the King of the Ring tournament.
I remember
He
that.
he he was the first guy on the line and still couldn't pull it off. And then we lead up all the way into freaking Haunted Hellfest, where he somehow gets a shot to go for the championship again, and ends up blowing it all away.
Was it fair to say that that's something that, if you think about it, you actually were responsible in part for his success, but in a way, if it wasn't for you being there, conversely, he would not have held on as long as he did. Maybe he should have looked at it that way. I mean, is that a fair assessment for me to make for those that are listening and watching?
I mean, yeah, that is a fair play. Like, it's all the what ifs. It's
And
always
he
the what
kind of got,
ifs.
if you think about it, PBS obviously rose. We saw what happened with Just Ice. So in a way, CJ the Alpha Junt, it's his own fault that he kind of, in the company's wrapping up of the season that took place, he was almost lost really on his own accord. I don't think it's necessarily so much because of what you couldn't do with the taser. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
to be fair, it's not easy to, operate a taser. I mean, I don't know if I could operate a taser. I mean, and obviously you have a little bit of a better background than I do in those things. But I mean, those are things that I think ultimately, you know, you win and lose, and it's not your record that was there. It was CJ's. That maybe
right.
some would say that as well.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. It wasn't just one time I get shocked by the taser.
It was a
It was
couple times.
twice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was twice.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was twice for when he turned his back on me and
Yep.
beat the ever living heck out of me.
Oh,
Like
he was upset. I remember it. Like he was
yeah,
just, upset there, and and he took out his frustrations on you. But the facts are really, at the end of the day, it's his own doing that led to his demise.
yeah.
So let me ask you: in the time that you were away from the company, what did you think of the way kind of the dust settled in legendary backyard wrestling this past year? Before we come back to you here in the current, in the time that you stepped away from the ring, how did you feel about how the way things kind of evolved in legendary backyard wrestling?
Well, I think everything evolved perfectly. With Just Ice to who she was to
An amazing
she got
story
kicked.
what Jeff Ice
Yeah,
has done.
yeah.
Amazing story.
She got kicked out of PBS.
Yep.
PBS turned her back on
Hmm.
her, and then she rose and won the world championship herself. You know,
Absolutely.
and then also with also getting kicked out, Nate Dogg turns heel. He goes to PBS, which I guess if you want the grass greener on the other side, I guess freaking oh well.
I guess it's the brains of the Wilster. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
it has to be. Has to be. He tries to see who he thinks is best in the moment, and somehow whispers in their
You know what
ear.
they call that for the sports fans of Sportswire? They call that trying to either fence sit or front run. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's front running. Maybe it's more fence sitting. And maybe he's trying to fence it and try to pick basically the right person to go with and figure that's the one that's going to get him to the most success. But that doesn't always work out that way.
Oh yeah, 100%. He just tries to see who's best for him to make him grow. That's what basically is. He's the leader of PBS, and it's just who makes him grow
Well,
to try to get to the.
I mean, I think, yeah, we lost you there for a second. I think Just Ice, in a way, you could argue, has had far more success outside of
Yeah.
PBS than when she was there. I think that, you can't, so I don't know if it's necessarily long term in his interest, Nate Dogg, to go with the Wilster, especially because now, he's got a lot of mouths there to feed.
Oh yeah, yeah. He has a lot, a very much. And the thing is, as well, is that they're PBS. The whole team itself is just going after one guy. Like, and they're a stat full group that's going after one dude,
But
which
that's
is
because, well, the psychotic freak, and
yeah.
that's really, but that isn't that really more about the Wilster than the rest of the group? And doesn't that say, you've never been a group guy? You've always been kind of your own guy. After all, you are now with the new music, the American Badass. You are kind of like the legendary backyard wrestling's badass. But talk to me about this. In a way, isn't that the group just following like a cult, and that the Wilster has had this long obsession with the psychotic freak? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you're like, yeah. Cult is a good word for it because
I was
technically,
thinking of the right word before we went in there. I was actually thinking about this. I'm like, let me try to choose my words tonight, because obviously last night we had a show, and obviously certain people had certain feelings, and that's fine. It's the court of public opinion, and I don't know what's right or what's wrong. You can watch it, but I think when it comes to the Wilster and his group, I was trying to think. I guess with the group kind of basically following him with this long feud he's had with the psychotic freak, I think it's pretty fair to say it's almost like a cult, like opinion, maybe, or cult like
yeah,
following he's got there.
yeah. Basically, it's whoever he points his finger to. That's where it's going. And here's the thing: it's also with PBS is that they don't do anything by themselves at all.
But that isn't that like any group, though? I mean, a group is basically like a gang. A group associates themselves with multiple people, and that's kind of what they do in order to be successful. I mean, that's the point. I mean,
Well,
nobody's going to do anything one-on-one. What's your thoughts? Go ahead, jump in.
well. Yes and no, because
Okay.
here's the thing. We'll just go back from me and CJ's time because
Yep.
technically we were a little of a group. Like it was just me and
Yeah.
him.
Okay. All right.
So like
Fair
I
play.
never not once made a big interference, like start whooping on the other dude.
No, there wasn't
You
like,
know, like
you didn't go behind somebody's back while they were
yeah,
about to
yeah,
win the match. I got that. You didn't do those
yeah,
things where you blindly beat them up. Yes, I agree with that. Okay, fair.
yeah, yeah. Not every group has to do that. Like even with oh
Judgment Day.
yeah, yeah. Like they can't do anything. Fuck. It's just one of those things it's just that's what the Willisters got going on for them. Just with
But how does that, now that you've returned? I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the current in a few minutes, but with them basically, still obviously having certain people in their crosshairs, you know, how do you feel about that? Where with your path, and we're going to talk about that. Obviously, we have a match to recap. We also have, set the tables for us with J Ro. I'm sure very soon in that match for the U.S. title, number one contendership. I mean, where do you fall into all of this, and how does that kind of change or maybe focus for the direction of Napalm?
right. Well, the thing is that I have no focus on anybody from PBS coming at me.
Okay, yes, I
I'm
agree.
staying. I'm staying in my own lane. But the thing is, they want to come at me. One thing I said from the beginning: I will whoop anybody who comes into my way, who comes at me. Like I'm gonna do the best that I can, and I'm gonna whoop your ass.
And
Quite
they're going to
frankly, at
tread
the end of the
lightly
day.
because, well, first of all, they're going to tread lightly because of two things. Number one, technically, you're undefeated still. I say technically because you didn't win the match, but you didn't get pinned or
No.
you weren't forced to submit. So you're still undefeated. But also, you made CJ the Alpha Junt tap out, which nobody's done. This guy's had, a decorated career in LBYW. He has done it all. He's been a champion multiple times. You had a lot of success with him. So the fact that you did that, I think it would make PPS think very lightly about going after you when they certainly have, other people on their sites, Just Ice and a Psychotic Freak as an
Right.
example.
Well, see, the only time that I've ever even had a person
You
from
didn't
the
have much
PBS that I had to
interactions at all with
face.
them. Yeah, as
What
far
what
as
what
I
what
remember.
was what was the Willister, and that was in our
Yes.
5-way United States Championship, my championship match that
Yep.
I was in. And the thing is, I didn't let him stop me. I kept going at him, even though that he rolled over my ankle trying to break up a pin. But the thing is, though, is that I still never let him stop get in my way. I made him bleed. Like that was the point across there. He attacked me. I made him bleed. Call it good. We're all good from there.
Well, certainly, eye for an eye and blood for blood, I guess, certainly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But let me say hello to some people, and before I make some
That's
plugs, I
cool.
want to say hello, obviously, to some people here in Legendary Backyard Wrestling, which, by the way, I actually want to give a big plug to because, obviously our friends at Legendary Backyard Wrestling have always been supporters of ours here at Sportswire Radio, and I'll make sure you check them out on Instagram and Threads. Yes, I am actually on Threads. I use it from time to time, and so does LBYW. You can check them out at ND_Backyard_Wrestling, also on YouTube, where they have over 1,350 subscribers. So you want to make sure you support LBYW. They had some fun stuff there in the All Access channel. They're actually a couple of weeks ago were opening up like packs of WWE cards they got at yard sales. And I was like, wow, that's a really cool yard sale. I was watching them open up card after card after card.
Yeah.
It took me back to my days where I did, a lot of wrestling and baseball card collecting. And those guys did a great job with it. Obviously, Ragnarok and Chris Aruda. Chris has been here so many times. Love Chris. And obviously CJ Junt. And make sure you support them because it's about all wrestling matters. I want to also say hello to my guest coming up here next week in your chair on his birthday, Mr. D'Angelo LaFlame. The guy's got so much flame-like energy, and he's probably flaming right now like a Whopper and a Big Mac, whatever. Well, the Whoppers are the ones that are flame broiled. The Big Macs aren't flame broiled. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was trying to make a funny joke here, but I want to
No,
say
I
hello
got
to
it. I got it.
D'Angelo and happy birthday next week to you. Also want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Ethan Sorensen, and God bless Ethan because Ethan is here literally on all of our shows on Sportswire. He always finds a will in a way, kind of not like the Wilster, will in a way, the Wilster, but
Yeah.
he says, how you guys doing? Say, we're doing great. And obviously, we're excited about Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Please go out there and support them and all their great platforms. Their season kind of unofficially started, and we're talking a lot about that, plus the journey of Napalm. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. So I have to ask you then, in a way, coming into the season to start, how excited were you to get back out there? I know we had the show in January, but it's January. You had the one
Yeah.
match and you really couldn't go out there. But now, we had a chance to get out there, and, seeing that, that trampoline back up and seeing a nice little crowd you had there. You had some, good feelings. It was always good to start the season. It almost reminds me of, not that I was very good at, but, when you have little league start as a kid and everybody get ready, everybody's there, they're cheering for you on. You had a nice little crowd there. So before we go into the match, how did it feel to be back out there to start the season?
Oh, it felt good, and it felt like I was back at home, basically, back where I belong, and happy to be there. Like, yeah, in January, yeah, it was just me. Like, we didn't have a crowd, and it was dark, and all that stuff.
I
But
know,
you know,
January is so depressing. I got to be honest. I was talking about this. We were talking off the air, and I was a part of something. I won't say what it was, and I was saying in the chat I had before you come back on, I'm like, I'm always like January and February. I'm like, it's cold. It's dark. It's early, and you can't go anywhere. People don't want to do it. But now, we're in the middle of March. It's now there's still, for what it's worth, daylight savings. We get an hour of light back. It's now 7:00, 7:15 here
mhm.
in the East Coast. It's light till you feel good about that. That's kind of how I felt about watching it, because I think now I'm thinking about it. You guys might be the first company that we have on Sportswire that kind of got that's a true yard company that got a chance to start their season. I think that's, really, really cool.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. That's a pretty cool thing.
Well, see, up here in North Dakota, it got nice
How
because
was your winter, by the way? Because here in New York, I really can't complain. We had like a couple of snowstorms. They were like 4 inches, 5 inches. You guys would probably chuckle at it, but by and large, like winter was like mild. I mean, today I was in a light jacket almost. I could have been in shorts
see,
almost. How was winter for
winter
you guys?
winter here was mild. They were like, yeah,
Yeah.
it snowed every now and again. Like, yeah, there was a week that it snowed every day, but like it wasn't as bad. And like now in March, like it's about almost 60 degrees outside and there's no
Man,
snow on the
the
ground.
same thing
Like
here in New York. It was 60, like 65. It was cold a couple days ago, and I fell and almost jammed my finger. I'm fine now, but other than that, it's been like almost like the same winter. I have to ask you a fun question before I get to the season. So, what's a tougher winter, Oklahoma or North Dakota's?
oh, here, North Dakota,
Really?
North
Okay.
Dakota.
I
And
would have
in
thought
in,
Oklahoma.
in Oklahoma, listen, it might snow, but it's like 2 inches. And
Oh,
and
okay.
and and basically with those 2 inches, the whole state shuts down. No one goes to school. No one goes to work. No one does
Wow.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah, no one
It's
does
not even
anything.
that bad in New York City, because it's
And
funny, like, it's not even like that. If we have 2 inches, it's bad. Like, people don't know how
yeah,
to shovel snow, but like, you still have to go to work. I didn't realize that. Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything shuts down. Like no one knows how to function. Everyone's like gearing up. Like when we get told that there's snow coming, people will go to Walmart or
Oh,
like the
they
little
get
bitty
ready and
stores,
buy like
and they
all the
buy
water. Oh
everything,
my God, the first aid and
everything.
the flashlights and oh
Yeah,
my God, that's crazy stuff. But before I
like
come back to the season, I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Michael Christian. And Michael, I was supposed to have your stepfather on Sportswire to be inducted into our Hall of Fame this past Sunday, but unfortunately, he had a family emergency. And I want to wish your former stepfather, Festus Davis, very well, and hope we see him back on the show. And Michael is one of my all-time favorites, and Michael is one of the few people that actually owns a Sportswire radio show. Michael, thank you for tuning in. Michael is one of my favorites, and want to say hello to my guest yesterday, Anthony Steele, the real deal, who certainly had a lot to say in a real way. And Michael wants to say he's still family. Yes, I love Festus, and I think Festus will be back. But okay, so the season starts, and obviously you're back out there. It's a great feeling, but you're in this triple threat match with obviously, Psychotic Freak and also obviously Aiden, and it doesn't quite go the way you want. It was almost kind of like a pinball match, a pinball Aiden. It was like the amount of times you got curb stomped and the amount of times you thought you had the match won. So for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire, talk about the match, talk about how you felt, and just overall impressions. Now that we've got a chance to watch it, now that it's been a few hours old.
well, of course, it was the first match of the season. It was my first match since last May, I
I was gonna
believe.
say about like
Yeah,
9 months, about 9 months,
yeah.
and a triple threat, no less. We don't get too many triple threats in
No,
LBYW.
no, 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 we don't. And it was just trying to get back into the feels, trying to get back to how everything feels right. And the thing is like I faced Psychotic Freak before, but I have
Yep,
not faced Aiden,
yep.
Pinball Aiden. So that was just a new opponent for me. Like I knew what Freak was going to come out with, but I didn't know what Aiden was going to be coming out with. And so yeah, with him jumping and flying kicks, and
Yeah,
that
you
was
guys were like just all over. It was literally, I felt
yeah.
like I was watching a pinball match. It was literally like from the get go. It was like you came out, you had your music, and then right afterwards, it was just
It
nonstop
was
action.
oh, yeah, yeah. Like, the thing is that, like, once you get one guy down, by the time before you can even turn around, like, the other guy's already on you, attacking you, and it was just one of those things to get back used to
I was
understanding.
gonna, it's funny. Before I get a question from Michael, I'm gonna let Michael ask you a question in a second.
Yeah.
But how do you prepare for a match like that? I haven't had many of these matches in LBYW to watch, and you haven't had really one of these like this before. So how do you plan for something like
So
this?
so how I plan is that I used to play sports in school, and so I would go back and watch film. I would go back and watch these guys how they wrestle, what their weaknesses is, what's not their weakness, how can I might avoid this, and then you get a game plan started in your head, and you get ready, and you think about, all right, if he does this, what am I going to do here? And then you go out there and you give it your 110% best effort to it. Like, yeah, it was my first ever triple threat match, but the thing is, I had that 5-way match for our 4th of July special. So that's something that I had a little bit of experience of, with having more than one opponent with me, and then having all those multiple guys. So with being in this triple threat match, I had 2 instead of 1 or 5, and
But in
so
a
it just
five-way match, it's not quite a triple threat, but it's
no.
also there's four other people. So is there a difference in planning that match versus, say, what we saw today?
Yeah, yeah. There's a difference, because walking into the one I had today was, I prepared for 2 guys,
Right, right,
I
right, right.
prepared. I
I got
watched
that.
these 2 guys instead of 4 other competitors. Like,
Do
yeah,
you
CJ
play?
was
But
there
I feel
already.
like I know. Again, I mean this with no disrespect because I'm not a wrestler. But don't you pace yourself differently in a five-way versus a three-way? You
Yes,
pa-
and
you pace.
also
Yeah.
know at the same time, depending on weather, depends
Ah.
how the weather is as well.
Okay.
Because
I can respect
here's
that.
the thing is, I don't know if you realize, with that match as well, it was muddy. It was muddy
I
as
did
hell.
see that. Yes,
Yeah, it was muddy as
I
hell.
didn't want to say nothing. I may play to put up on the screen here in a few minutes, but I didn't want to say like how did the trampoline ring still stand because that mud was like I don't know. It was almost like a
Yeah,
you could have had like a Mudvayne song out there. Mudvayne.
yeah.
You had Kid Rock, American Badass. I thought maybe Mudvayne a little bit there. Dig. There was a Mudvayne song called Dig. Maybe you could have dig some more mud to keep it standing the ring.
Oh, yeah. Well, there were still some bags I was on there that was frozen from all the stuff, but, but the thing is, though, is I had to prepare for 2 guys, and also make sure the hell that I am not getting thrown out that ring. I'm in for a match, not a mud wrestling match, you know what I mean?
Ah,
So, like,
Oh,
so
okay. So you were like basically like you don't want to get thrown into the mud. I hadn't thought about that. Even though you've been in some, tough conditions. I mean, that's interesting that you said that. And obviously, I want to get to Michael in a second, but also I want to actually show our legendary Backyard Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure you support them. They're on YouTube. They have a great following, and obviously, this is the match here itself. So I'm actually going to put it up on the screen. I'm going to put it on the full screen, and we see it's a new series. So congratulations being a part of the first series here, and we're actually getting a chance to watch a little bit of it. I usually do commentary, but I won't quite do it yet. But we get to see some of the stuff here, in the match, and you come out there, and again, reminiscent of an American Badass, and what's going on through your mind here, in the match, what's going on. You kind of just as it starts here with these 2 guys that are different in the ring.
what's going on is that, like, I'm excited to be back, but I also was not prepared for Freak to jump at me right off the bat. But the thing is that even though I wasn't prepared, I'm always ready for anything. So when he came at me, of course, I had to get him down to the ground fast. But the thing is also one thing I did not account for was that Aiden was right there to drop kick me straight to the ground
Yeah,
and
I
start
see
coming
that.
at me out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's so interesting, when you're in this setting, you don't know how to react. I mean, and I'm watching the match, and we'll get to some comments, but I mean, sometimes maybe in these matches, are you looking for like that minute to kind of compose yourself and kind of come back out there and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
Get a
what you
minute to
that's what you want
compose
to
and
do?
assess the situation and see what I need to do. See who I need to take out, and then work on the other guy after that. But the thing is that I took too long on Freak here, started beating the heck out of him, and then
How about this kick here? I mean, was somebody trying to
that
practice like martial arts here? Does somebody have a martial arts background that we don't know about on
I,
Sportsfire? But
I, I I'm guessing so. I'm guessing because that was just insane to me, even especially watching back on that,
how
because
about
of
that
course I
kind
was
of
face down.
almost belly to belly suplex there? That was kind of really cool. Then you came out here and you did that. Then we have the count, and I don't know where where the ref was here. I mean, I know our ref. We lost him there a little bit. I don't know where was Ref Akito. Where is Ref Akito? Ref Akito was standing there. I think, what were you waiting for, Ref? I mean, you have to talk about the officiating there because Ref Akito. I mean, I was kind of thinking he would have gave a count there. No.
Yeah, he should have. He should have gave a count there. But Ref Ojeda was on something. He was on something. I know that.
Well, I mean, I certainly am not. I'm going to plead the fifth on what Ref Ojeda wants to do. Obviously, we love what our referees do on Sportswire, but and I won't keep the match going. But obviously, you see here the back and forth in the match, and clearly, yeah, you're right. You have certainly been the brunt of a lot of this offense, and these two guys seem like. Do you think that you were targeted maybe earlier in this match because of your most recent victory and return to the ring?
Yeah, more than likely I was definitely targeted. I was definitely the guy to go after, especially from Freak's point of view.
Now, what are you thinking here when you see the Freak go off the top ladder? Because you look like, I remember watching it the first time and now watching it again. Were you okay after this? Because that was a rough spot there.
Oh yeah. No, I was not. I was not prepared. I was not ready. I never had anybody jump at me at all. That I was also, yeah.
I mean, somebody there. He's really, pinball is really coming out with the kicks. In the arsenal. I guess it must be something from, the water. I don't know, but you really, we see you then clutching your head there again. Clearly, you're facing something.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my head into the game, trying to figure out what I need to do, and trying to plan as it comes along, trying to figure out who do I need to take out. Especially, I seen that Freak was down, so I speared Aiden, and then seen Freak get back up. Now it's time to do something, then
now you kind of almost tried something. I don't know if you were going for a fireman's carry or going for some type of F5, but you just basically dropped the psychotic Freak and he fell, and then he kind of fell onto you. So you've been basically the brunt of almost all this offense tonight.
Yeah, right there. I just gassed out. I tried to do something to put him down, but in the middle of picking him up, I was just gassed. I didn't have nothing.
Still another, it's funny you say that because there's still another half of this match at least.
Yeah.
And, just talking about it out loud for the audience listening and watching. I was here with Napalm from Legendary Backyard Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. And you can see here in the description, please follow Legendary Backyard Wrestling on all their channels. But, with you being gassed already, how were you able to hang in the match as long as you did?
Well, the thing is that I just pulled more out of the arsenal. It's just that, take a second, breathe, figure out, get through with all the pain, because I've just been getting attacked left and right, like from both Pinball, Aiden, and also Freak.
But that's not easy. Guys talk about it all the time when they're gassed already in a match. That's like serious that you're able to. You didn't just have 2 minutes left in the match, and you guys were like, okay, let's end the match. No, there was still a lot of offense here. I mean,
there was a lot. There was a lot of just sitting back and trying to figure out what do I need to do to try to win.
And you came back here a little bit and started to get some offense in. So do you feel at this point maybe you were able to gain some of your composure or maybe fed off the adrenaline a little bit?
Yeah, I was ready to rock and roll.
How about that? You just threw him like a sack of potatoes there. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, certainly Napalm is showing why he's the badass of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Here's another one here. Another suplex there. Almost another little inverted belly to belly. And then, boy, I mean, that punch looked like that, it connected there. I'm not going to say it wasn't a fake punch.
Yeah.
And then we see here the psychotic Freak is just standing around, and there's the curb stomp on the pinball Aiden, and he goes for the count. And again, Akito with the slow count. I'm not sure what Akito was waiting for, but it did seem a little slow of a count there. I'm not sure what the officiating issues are there, but that's kind of where we are in the match. I think I'm going to watch the match the whole way through because I'm actually kind of enjoying watching the match on Sportswire. I like talking about these matches. People like me doing it. I do commentary from time to time, but we see here, boy. And then I think it was a double spear. It
was a double spear
there.
Double spear.
That was your best move so far of the match. And again, it looked like you almost had him there. And all of a sudden, psychotic Freak wakes up and there's the count because it was broken up. And look at that move there. I mean, you just. Did you learn that somewhere? Because it looks like maybe you got that in the battlefield almost.
No, yeah, something like that. Yeah, especially. It's just.
Now, what was Psychotic Freak saying here? Because he was I don't know if he was talking out loud, but was he? And then we see here somebody that I think very well come into the match. And do you want
Yeah.
to talk about this?
So Freak, Willister was of course back there, and he was
Yep.
talking his stuff like normal. So
Yep.
Freak was going at it, and then Nate Dogg came out of nowhere,
Yep. And
and of
Nate Dogg, a
course,
man that obviously we know has history with Just Ice, and we spoke about him, and obviously he came into the match, and on theory it should have helped you actually here in this match. I was kind of thinking, when Nate Dogg came in, you were going to win this match actually, because I was thinking you're on Sportswire tonight and you're going to win this match. I really thought that was kind of the way it was going to go, but it actually didn't do that. So when we saw Nate Dogg come in and break up the finish, but yet we still had more action, and yet we thought it was over. And then there we go. There you go. I thought this match was over right there. I don't know what Akito was waiting for. And, again, officiating definitely
that was at
1, 2.
That was like at a 1 there. That was at a 1 when he went and broke it up.
But
it was a
Akito
1,
was just standing there. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to make this about Akito, but I mean, there should have been a count when we see Nate Dogg in the Psychotic Freak breaking up there, and yet there's nothing in it. By at this point, it's just broken down into a Donnybrook. It is basically all hell's breaking loose, to quote Kiss. Basically, this is all come down, and we see, obviously, it all just kind of unfold here. And at this point, it's anyone's guessing. There's another curb stomp. Looks like a curb stomp on Nate Dogg, and you're trying to get back up here, and you have no idea what's going on in this match.
Yeah, I do not at this point. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do.
And it looks like another spear, and it looks like you were about to spear the Psychotic Freak off the trampoline, but it's not the case. And yet you've got everybody down, and you're picking Pinball 8, and there's another spear. And that's going to be a 4th one tonight, and we're waiting for that count. And I don't know what Akito's waiting
No, hasn't even started. And 1, 2.
And what are you thinking here about this? I know it's not you to complain about the officiating, but you have to be thinking something here in your mind.
I think I'm just gonna give Ref Ajito the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just gonna say,
well, you're a big man. A lot of people on Sportswire would not do that. You certainly showed that you're the bigger man, and now we see it looks like the Psychotic Freak is going off that ladder, and something's going to happen, and yet it sort of happened, but it comes across a little awkward here, but yet you're down. It kind of looked like maybe a shoulder tackle there. It looked like a little bit of a shoulder tackle.
Yeah, it was a shoulder tackle right there.
Shoulder tackle, and this is the first time you're watching the match, actually? I'm just so curious.
No.
I was going to say, have you watched the match yet? Because I thought it was kind of fun to do that, but we see here now, certainly Pinball Aiden is on top of everybody, and I think he's waiting to do something. And for the audience, again, if you haven't got a chance to support Legendary Backyard Wrestling, please great platforms. We really enjoy the company, and it looks like he's grabbing you by your gear, and now you're getting all those kicks.
Yep.
And now you're down, and you're definitely heading for the nap there, because you're now basically seeing only stars. And again, Refahito, a little bit of a slow count, but this gets.
Listen, I don't think you've seen, but my hand was on the ropes there. All right, I don't even know why you started counting, because my hand was on the rope.
Well, we could push.
Was on the side.
Back on the replay. Let's go back on the replay for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. So we come back here. Let's go right back to it, and we're gonna see here. Let's get it back off here. Let's see if you actually had. Yeah,
look at.
You're there. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
right
I'm
on
there.
The edge. That should never have been a count. That's something that hopefully management goes back and watches the tape, and they could actually see what they want about that. So
right. And here's the funny thing as well. I didn't even know Nate Dogg's in the ring. I still have no idea that he's in there. I have no idea that he's been there the entire time. The entire time I'm focused on the 2 people I'm facing. I have no idea that Nate Dogg is right there, and you'll figure that out later on into this match. That I finally realized.
Because we're about 2/3 of the way through in the match, actually. So, but we see here now it's all unfolded, and I mean we just see it, and look at those kicks, and I don't know if that connected, but it's still got the Psychotic Freak down, and now we're about to see you do another one of your suplexes, and boy, that I got to be honest. If I'm on that trampoline, if I'm Pinball 8, and I just stay down. And just stay down for the count, because there ain't nothing you can do but just sit there on that trampoline and like it. But now that you're feeling confident, this is probably where you're most confident in this match.
Honestly, I am. Honestly, I should have capitalized, especially since Freak was down and I just got Aiden down. I should have capitalized.
And why did you not? I was about to mention that. Why did you kind of just feel like you were almost like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic? You're on top of the world, but yet you didn't do nothing about it. And
no.
Too long here.
I should have capitalized when I had the chance, and I probably would have won it at that point too.
I think you won it because both guys were down, but yet you kind of did something unlike you, and you were boastful and very confident in who you were. And I don't think that worked out to your advantage because the match is still continuing. Obviously, it didn't, and that's why we're still here. And we see now that Pinball has gotten up, and Psychotic Freak is certainly he's facing the trampoline, and he ain't getting up. And there you go, at another
There he
spear.
is.
This
Yeah,
had to have been
that was the one I was confident about.
Again,
1,
2, and then literally, like, I just think, what was Hito thinking?
Like I said, I think the sun was in his eyes. He just couldn't see, even though I was right there in front of him. Maybe it was just because he was just right there.
You know what? I don't want to blame this on the officiating, but certainly management needs to watch the tape that we've watched live on Sportswire, and another one of those suplexes. Boy, I mean, you guys have been trading another. I think you just connected, and this match should have been over. And now we're looking at it here, and I think you're trying to get a pin, but maybe you should have went for Pinball Aiden because he was the one down, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Again, you motion. Okay, now are we waiting for one more spear?
One more. I'm ready to end this. Take out Aiden.
And that's it.
That's it right there.
Get him. And then, I don't know why, but 1, 2. And yet somehow
somebody kicked out.
And I think the Psychotic Freak had nothing in him, and yet this match should have been over. And he just let him, wait a minute. That's it. That's got to be it there. And then yet you got curb stomped.
I get a curb stomped.
Sort of got curb stomped. And now we're waiting for you to get pinned. But 1, 2. And, I think, did you just get the
I just
right
barely.
Literally, it was like,
got it up. Yeah.
You just got it.
It was just pure instinct. And then,
but now you're back up here. And I think he turns around, Psychotic Freak, and he's getting something. And you gave him a knee almost to the chest, and you're ready to powerbomb him or pedigree him, and it's over. I mean, pedigree time, and there it is. You gave him the pedigree, and why did you not capitalize on that and turn him around for the pin? Because this match is over. Yet you kind of, pumping your chest. You certainly, boasting, but you had him. I mean, you got to capitalize. I mean, you know better than anybody. What were you waiting for?
I think I just wanted to take out the weakest link the most. The dude that has been taking it all majority, and that was
you had this match won.
I had it. I don't know. I think I was just being cocky.
And
honestly.
Then you speared, but now you got Psychotic Freak who's just gonna break this up. He's just gonna push you over, and you're down and out. And I think he knows now what he needs to do, and that's a very vulnerable right now Pinball Aiden, because Pinball Aiden is not seeing anything right now. But
Pinball just took 6 spears back to back from me,
and that's why now it's over here. And he obviously finished. He's about to finish this match, and now we see him kind of standing around, and I think you're about to get a curb stomp, if I recall correctly. And that's what you just got. You just got a curb stomp, and this one's just about to be over. But you're going to find a way, I think, literally, to go like that. I mean, you had literally everything in your power to go like that, and that's exactly what you did there. Yeah, and that's why you hung in there in this match, and you can see the mud in the background, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, conditions there in North Dakota for the mud. Definitely, this match is kind of in the mud because what we've seen in that, and I think there was some sort of maybe, I guess, shoulder tackle of some sort, and now I think Psychotic is going for that curb stomp, and I think this is all she wrote because you ain't getting up anytime soon.
No, that's it for me.
Nothing you can do, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. While you didn't get the win, you didn't eat the pin, but the Psychotic Freak continues his momentum, and he has fought off technically PBS, and he continues his feud, and he continues to at least get one over on PBS, and we'll certainly see what happens. But he is definitely clutching his chest and his stomach for those reasons that you can see. And look at that mud conditions there. I mean, boy, it took a lot, I think, to keep that trampoline going there. So hopefully next time out, we won't see that. And we see here also for Unity, we're going to see you in a number 1 contenders match with J-Ro. So do you want to talk about that for the audience before I get to some questions?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back part of another BYWN pay-per-view match, which is Unity. I'm glad to be there, and I'm also honored that it's with Gyro. Gyro is a hell of a competitor, hell of a guy, and nicest dude that you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've heard a lot of good things over the past year. A guy that really has put a lot of effort
Yeah.
into improving. And we always love hearing that on Sportswire. And, and being a part of the Nexus and their big show, that's also got to be a big deal because we know many Nexus members are going to watch this show. I know our buddy Ace Reed is a part of the Nexus, and we love Ace Reed. Ace, obviously, the Wired Up podcast has interviewed CJ, and he's going to interview you one of these days. But
Oh,
but obviously, still this is a big match. There's a lot on the
yeah.
line here. Number one contendership for the U.S. title.
Yeah. I'm coming back for what's mine. I'm coming back for what I never lost that I had to give up.
That burns at
Yeah.
you, right? That you had that
Yeah.
championship and you weren't able to really. We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know if someone could beat me for it. But the thing is, though, is that I'm coming in this match confident because for how good Gyro is, how good of a competitor
Yep.
and a wrestler is, I beat him for that title. I won that title from
Yes.
him. So I'm coming into this match confident, even though that I did lose the throwdown match. I did. I lost the first one, but I did eat a pin and I did not submit. I'm still coming out as still undefeated. Yeah, my record might be 5-1, but the thing is, though, I'm still coming out the same guy, the
Could you
same
say
character.
that Gyro could be motivated against you because you were a part of the first throwdown? You're technically coming off an L, but you still have that victory against CJ
Yeah,
Junt to start the year. He's going to be motivated to show that what happened last time between you guys for that title is not going to happen this time
yeah.
later in the next few weeks.
And that could happen. Gyro could pull out something out of nowhere, out of nowhere that ends up taking me out. Like anything is possible. But the thing is, it's going to be one hell of a fucking match for
Oh,
to
and
try
I
to
tell you
take
what,
me down.
you know what? After what we saw with what you do with your spears, what we see with what you do in the ring, it's definitely going to be a slobber knocker, to quote JR. And we're looking forward to all of it. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here. And if you are on Sportswire Radio, I want to thank you for your support over the past 5 years. I want to thank, obviously, our friends at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And if you're here on Sportswire Radio, check us out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year on sportswireradio.org via the Listen Live button. You can listen to all of our great podcasts. If you have a podcast you'd like to hear, if you want live music to be played on the platform, you're welcome to check us out and tell us anytime. Also, we're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579 Backspace Streams. We're also on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. I want to say hello to my very good buddy who just messaged me on my iMessage on my iPhone, Jason Facina, the brand new head coach of the United States men's amputee soccer team, told me to keep killing it. Well, literally, we had somebody on the show that was talking about different things last night about that. But Coach Facina, I would love to have back on the show next month because Coach Facina, we are hoping to have him inducted into our Hall of Fame because he has been one of my biggest champions for 5 years. So we say hello to Coach Facina, United States men's soccer amputee coach. Pretty cool. But if you're also out there today, we're back tomorrow with more coverage. The IMF has a live show called the St. Patrick's Day Massacre, and yours truly is sponsoring it because I sponsor as many shows as we can. And we have a slew of guys that are here coming up for it. It'll be 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on all Sportswire radio platforms. And if you want to follow Legendary Backyard Wrestling, ND_backyard_wrestling on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, they're doing a great job out there, and they definitely do give you some of the very best backyard wrestling, not only in all of North Dakota, but everywhere out there. They're also a part of the Backyard Wrestling Nexus, so make sure you support them and other Nexus members. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here. And we are speaking with the one and only Napalm. I have a great question, Napalm, from one of my buddies, Ethan Sorensen, which basically stole one of my questions earlier for you. But what are some of your goals here for wrestling since you've returned to the ring a few months ago? What are some of the goals?
My goals is I want to rise. I want to rise to the top as much as
Okay.
possible. I'll beat anybody in my way, but the thing is, though, is that I'm not going to do it with a sour face like a lot of our guys that we have. Like I'm going to be proud. I'm going to be honored to whoever I face, unless it's anybody for PBS or for some reason I got to face CJ again, which whenever his ass comes back. But with everybody else, though, with all of our amazing talent and all the people that we have, I'm excited. I'm excited for this new season. I'm excited to rise and see who I come up against as opponents wise.
Absolutely. Me too. And I'm very excited about that as well. And, we look forward to the company's success. And, how do you feel the company has grown since you've been here? Obviously, I remember when CJ just got to 1,000 subscribers, and I remember speaking with him, 1,000 subscribers. I remember him saying something along the lines of, "Well, kind of stopped and kind of reflected and kind of almost stood there, and it was like, wow." And now we're at 1,350 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, how do you feel about the company's growth and success since you've been here?
I good or bad inside our company, like heels or nice guys or baby faces, as we should say.
I didn't
Um,
know that. Really, that the baby faces are nice guys and heels are bad guys. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Basically, in terms wise, um, we all work hard. We all
Absolutely,
give. We all, no matter what, give our 110% effort into this
for
ring
sure.
or trampoline, as I should say. But the thing is that we put out as much as possible, and the thing is to see it grow and see it rise with every new subscriber and every new person. It puts all of our hard work and our effort for what we're trying to accomplish.
Is
Happen,
there a
so.
is there a buzz that you guys feel more so than last year? Is there? I mean, just talk about that. And you're obviously here and to start the season. We're going to be here, and is there an extra buzz? I mean, I know obviously we had Chris Aruder on here about a month or so ago, and I've known CJ for a while, but is there an extra buzz? In the
Well,
company?
the thing is that we all know this is our last full season. We it's not our last time putting out stuff. Like we'll put stuff every now and again, but it's our last. It's our last full season, and the thing is, we all know it, and we all just want to put our
How
hundred
does
and
that
ten
make
percent
you
more.
guys feel though? You have all the success and it's the last. It's not obviously we're not going out of business. We're
Yeah.
not doing it, but it's the last full season. How does that make you guys feel? I mean, it's kind of, I would say,
Well, well,
sad in a way.
of course, yeah, sad in a way, you know. But the thing is, though, it's just that we all outside of backyard wrestling, we all have our personal lives that we have to get to, And the thing is, it's just it gets harder every now and again, just trying to schedule and trying to get stuff planned out, especially with everybody's work schedule, even mine and CJ's personal and everybody else, like we all have our personal lives. And so, the thing is though, it's just like we're trying our best to put out as much content as possible and try to do what we can. But, it's just we're sad in a way that it's ending fully. But the thing is, we're also excited as well because like it's our how should I say this?
Swan
Word wise.
song,
Yeah, yeah,
swan song. It's almost, but you guys, in a way, it almost feels like you're just getting started, though.
in a way.
I know it's four, but I think it's 4 years the company's been in existence, but I know we're not going out of business. We're going to still have content, but to not have a full season after this, when you guys are growing, it's got to be. I guess the word would be melancholy, meaning that it's kind of like, yeah, you're excited, but in a way, it's kind of like you're very reflective in the situation that you know is about to unfold, and that it's what it is, basically.
Right. Yeah. Um, like trust me, if I could do this every day, Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would do it.
I
I would do it. Trust me.
don't know if you'd want to do it every day because I think that there is always. It's good to take a break because I think that I don't want to say you shouldn't do it every day, but there could be a saturation. But I agree with you that we'd love to see you guys continue in the way that you've continued. You will obviously see, but does that give you also maybe extra motivation that, okay, this is my last full season? I'm obviously expecting maybe we'll do big shows. I don't know what the schedule is. It's not my call. That's a situation up for management to figure out,
Yeah.
but does that give you the, what? Okay, I'm laying it all on the line here, or maybe extra in terms of what I may want to accomplish this year. Is that maybe something that's fair to ask?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, technically, this is my first full and first last season.
I know it's kind of weird because
Because
you've been here, but you haven't been here. If that
yeah,
makes sense, I know
yeah,
kind of you've been here for a couple of. You've had duties here, like a couple of years, but this is the first time you're like with us, more or less, for a full
yeah,
season.
yeah. Here for a full season, but the thing, I give every match like it's my last.
You
Just
have
I
to.
give it. Yeah.
I always feel the same way. I always go back and I don't know what the future brings. There's nothing's guaranteed in life. There's
It,
no. guarantees.
Yeah. There's no guarantees. Like, there's no telling what might happen in the future. There's no
No.
telling what happens 2 months from now or 3 months from
I
now.
always
Like,
am under the impression that I don't even know what an hour from now brings. I mean,
yeah.
I've always been that, very much. People ask me, well, why don't you think about this and that? I'm like, no, because that's you can't. There's nothing guaranteed, but obviously, I think there's a lot of still excitement, and we'll certainly see how this season unfolds. And I did want to ask you, I guess, because you do have a unique journey. You went from Oklahoma to North Dakota, and you've also I don't know how comfortable you feel about this, but you actually serve our country, and I wanted to say first of all that I want to thank you for your service. Thank you for doing what you've done to give us here in America the freedoms that we have here. And I always support those that are first responders, those that are our law enforcement. I very strongly believe that, and I want to say thank you very much if I could for a second. How does that impact you in your career and such? What you do outside of the ring.
Uh, what I see, like, I was born and raised in Oklahoma. That's where I lived all
Sure.
my life. And then one of life's or God's paths in my life brought me up to North Dakota. I didn't know what to expect from here up in North Dakota. The thing is, I know
I
when
know
I
we're
came up.
from Georgia to North Dakota, so how about that?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, whew,
Well,
that's a
that's why
heck of
he's
a
the
jump.
Wilster. That's why
Yeah,
he's.
right, yeah. He's already crazy. But the thing is, though, is that, like, I ended up growing to love this place. I really did. I ended
Mhm.
up growing to love where I'm at. And the thing is that one thing that with life that I did not expect that I had me meet CJ. CJ was brought into my life, and then, like, we got bonded a couple things, and then he brought me into this wonderful thing that we're in now with
Sure.
Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And the thing is like, I'm grateful to be a part of it. And the thing is, being gone and being away, I missed it. I missed it a lot,
Gotta be
especially.
tough. You really
Yeah,
something you love, and yeah, with the people that you've really gotten a chance to know, and you guys have such a family bond with everybody in the company. There's
yeah.
a nice core of people here that want to do it for the right reasons, and it's got to be tough to leave them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. And then, like, being back at home and having content come out and me watching it, and it's just, and then still in the group chats that we had and all the shit talk and all the fucking fun times, it just made me miss it more and more. And then I was able to come back up here. I decided that I wanted to come back up here and make this my forever home, not just because of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. One of the reasons was because of them, but it's not the overall. But being back up here and being able to do what I do, especially with the job that I have um, outside of the ring, and I try to make as much time and much effort that I can to be able to be a part of these guys and give my ring respect.
Let me ask you this question: does it make you appreciate these situations more than maybe not to disrespect them, but to other people on the roster because of your own work and own experiences outside the ring? Does it make you appreciate this more?
Yeah, yeah, it makes me appreciate it a lot because, like, especially with the military, it's like, you build a bond with people.
Sure,
This
sure.
this love and care for bond with other people, as what we call our brothers and sisters. Like, yeah, we
Absolutely.
make, like, yeah, of course, in the branches we make fun of each other, but the thing is, at the end of the day, no matter whatever branch you're in, we still got your back. We still got your back at the end of the day. And the
I
thing
had a
is,
friend of mine years ago that was in the National Guard, and he served in Iraq. I think he was in Afghanistan, and it was like a big deal. I know it's a
yeah,
very tough sacrifice what you guys do.
oh yeah, and and be able to, with Legendary Backyard Wrestling, and with the people in it, people on the roster, people that are in the crowd, the people that we have, I built a bond with them, with everybody. So, and it's just one of those things that just feels like home, and it is home to me in my heart.
And
And
we certainly always want to give it a home on Sportswire Radio because I want you to follow them on all of their amazing platforms because they're doing a fantastic job. And before I get to some other things here of note over the next 20 or so minutes, as I always, I promised to present you something on the screen. And I was wondering now, you could obviously say no because most people come on sports, but I always like to ask this question to people that come on. We have something to present to you. Now, Napalm, obviously, if you don't want it, I can say no and not give it to you, and you could never know what it is, or you could be like everybody else, go, yeah, I would love to see it. I would love to know what it is. So you have no idea what I'm about to give to you, but I actually, if you only insist, for those that are listening and watching on Sports by Radio, where all wrestling matters, I would love to present to you something that might show or maybe appreciate what you've done in this sport.
I would definitely love to see it. Give
Well,
me a hell yeah.
you're in luck because I'm actually going to do it right now for you because I am actually going to present it here right on the screen for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. We want to make it known here on this date, March the 13th, 2024, on all of our platforms. It is recognized as Napalm Day. So whether it's on Twitch on Sportswire Radio, Twitter at Thomas Bryce 2017, Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, Facebook at Sportswire Radio, Thomas Bryce 2017 on Twitter, sportswireradio.org, YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, and anywhere else you find your favorite things on Sportswire Radio, including my personal Facebook page. It is your day, my friend, and it's acknowledged on all Sportswire Radio platforms. I will make sure that you receive this certificate after we're off the air. You'll give me your email if you'd be so kind, and congratulations, and wanted to just give this to you and thank you for all that you do in this sport. And as Hillbilly Tilly said last week when we inducted him into the Hall of Fame, that I truly believe that guys like you do it because you love this sport, and that's why you're here, and that's what we're bonded for. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. It really
I
does.
appreciate that.
I can't wait to print this off and hang this.
Well, I appreciate that because a lot of
gonna,
guys tell me that. So the fact that you want to do that shows me that it was definitely worth doing that. And we always like to give our people something because we support everybody that's out there in the ring. So that's what you want to look at here and support Napalm for all the great things. So I have to ask you. Obviously, you spoke a little about your goals, but talk about why the new music.
The new music. It came to me really. Like I love America. I love.
Good. I mean,
I love.
Right?
Like I got it tattooed, the flag on my arm. I got it on my hat. I got it everywhere. From red, white, and blue, I bleed. All right, like a little bit of Hulk Hogan in there.
I was gonna say that. Why not Real American? Why not Lex Luger?
Because see. But the thing is, though, I also want people to know that I mean business when I come out. Like you're gonna be, no matter how long the match is, we're gonna have a time of our lives. And I might be whooping your ass half of it, or maybe not, but I'm going to still give it my all. I'm going to give it the most badass way that I possibly can, which I have a lot of other moves that I have in store to come out that I've been thinking about doing. So be prepared for those because it's a lot.
Okay, well, I hope I don't spoil it and say it's the last ride. I hope it's not going to be the last ride.
No. I'm not trying to go for a full Undertaker experience.
Okay,
but,
all right. Well, you got it. I mean, it's an interesting choice. American Badass. I thought it was a good song. I just would have thought, after hearing, well, I'm very patriotic. You could have came out to Kurt Angle's music. Dun, 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 dun. You're not really a Kurt Angle guy because he was more of on the heel side of it. When he had his moments as a face, but really I think about dun, 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 or the Patriot had the same theme song.
Yeah.
You won't spoil it.
Well, see, here's the thing: is knowing our crowd that we have, they will guaranteed just be yelling out "You suck" in the part of the Kurt Angle music.
Your crowd. I don't think your crowd would like it very much. No, you don't fit that crowd. And speaking of crowds that we have on Sportswire Radio, one of my all-time favorites in our Hall of Fame. He's a man that I do some play-by-play with Sunday nights. He is none other than the legendary James Taylor, the Nemesis, and of course, the Nemesis sessions are on YouTube at Taff_Taylor. He's Taff_Taylor on YouTube. He's on Instagram. He's on TikTok. He had 2 million likes on a most recent post about Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is one of my all-time favorites out there. So we say hello to the Nemesis and thank you for all that he does in this great sport. And I hope that we get a chance to see him in the ring wherever that may be. And hopefully his heart will be happy just like everybody else's. But yeah, I did like the new music. I just thought after hearing, okay, well, I'm really American. I'm really patriotic. And you came out to the American Badass. I would have thought dun 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 dun. Dun. That would have. But then again, that doesn't really fit you either in the ring. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, doesn't really fit you. Maybe it is American Badass. Maybe that's what you should go with. Yeah, I don't think you should go with anything else. So you should keep the music.
Thank you. And the bandana is going to stay on as long as possible every time I
think the bandana. So. I think the gear you've got, the shield-like gear definitely fits you. The bandana fits you. The tattoos, You ain't taking the tattoos off because once you get the tattoos, to take them off, I mean, it costs like. Oh, the Undertaker. Speaking of which, didn't he have one of his ex-wives tattooed on his neck, and he had to remove it? It was
Yeah,
Sarah.
it was one of his. Yeah,
I
I
remember
know
that. And
exactly.
then he married Michelle McCool, who almost looks like his other wife, Sarah. So that was kind of interesting. I was almost,
Listen, listen, man, just has a type. All right, he just
I
you
was gonna say, yeah,
know.
I'm not gonna tell the Undertaker what type he should like. I'm not gonna, be like some people that come on Sportswire, or maybe challenge other people that recently came on Sportswire and say this, and that. No, the Undertaker, I'm gonna stay in my lane. If the Undertaker has a certain type, I'm gonna say, yep, okay, yes, sir, yes, Mr. Undertaker. You can certainly. And by the way, his type not bad at all because Sarah was very good looking and Michelle McCool is definitely, I would certainly not disagree with that. So that could definitely be the Undertaker's choice. Anybody else's choices would be very, very good for that. So let me ask you though, what got you into wrestling?
uh, it all started when I was a kid.
Okay,
And
good
it was
deal.
actually, and the funny thing is, it was a mirror accident when I was a kid. I was like
Oh wow.
7 or 6 years old, right?
Okay.
Didn't know a single thing about wrestling in my life. Like my mother, she watched WCW. Like she was, and while she was a kid, she watched
I watched
wrestling and stuff like that.
WCW
But
myself. Yep.
but the thing is though, is that it was a day in Oklahoma. It was Friday night,
Okay.
and I was just on my TV. I was flipping through the channels, and I found where Friday Night SmackDown was on. And the first match that I seen was an Undertaker match. It really was. It was the
Oh
Undertaker
wow.
match. Yeah, and it was him versus the Big Show. Yeah, it was him versus the Big Show. And watching that match, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then watching them go back and forth, then figuring out that they had a Monday night showing, I
Yep.
watched that, and then after just kept watching it, then I started going backwards and like watching old stuff, like from WrestleMania 1 all the way, watching
Yeah, I think
Hulk Hogan throw
I
over,
remember that. As a kid,
throwing
my
hot.
brother, yep, we got all the V8. I'm old enough. I'm not as old as James Taylor, let's say, but I do remember actually my brothers. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and we wound up buying all the WrestleManias on VHS up to like
Mhm.
WrestleMania 15, and we watched them all in order because I, didn't watch them live, obviously. So we watched them or that was kind of the same deal. So I can
Yeah,
relate to that.
and see what's funny is that my grandpa, we used to collect these old gaming systems. Like my
Okay.
grandpa had them. He had the old Nintendo 64. He had the
Okay.
old Sega. And the thing is, what's funny, he had a WrestleMania 2 Nintendo game with a cartridge and
Oh,
everything. But
wow.
and like you can play as Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant.
Oh, I think I
There,
remember the Million Dollar Man. Ted DiBiase was on
yeah,
there. I think the
yeah,
Macho Man Randy Savage was
Macho
on
Man.
there.
And then
Um.
that one dude, the big guy with some tattoos on his head. I know he was there.
Oh, One Man Gang.
Yeah, yeah, he was there.
You know what? Actually, I think I vaguely remember that game because that was like I might have been like very little, and there was a guy that my father had worked with at the time, and he actually let us borrow the game, and I think I annoyed him so much he never came over to my house again at the time. So I remember that was my first memories. I remember WrestleMania. That was when I think Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were actually on the cartridge cover, so if I recall correctly. So yeah, I remember the game.
Yeah,
I do
I
remember the
think it
game.
was Hulk Hogan that was on the cover. It was him in
Yeah.
the middle of him taking his
Yep.
shirt off.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it. He ripped his shirt off. Yep, I remember it.
yeah,
I have a memory of it. Yep. Yep.
yeah. And then after that point, it just started the love from there. Me and my brother, we used to watch it Monday and Friday. That's what we had to
Yep.
watch at like six p.m. my time was
Okay.
when we always watched it. And and of course, I'm the oldest, and my brother's the youngest. We used to throw each other around in the room all the time, freaking. Yeah, don't try this at home. Guess what? We're
Yeah,
actually gonna
you
try
know
it.
what? I told the story, and by the way, James Taylor, Napalm is from North Dakota via Oklahoma, and he is with legendary Backyard Wrestling. And CJ the Alpha John is kind of the man behind it, and that's their links. But I will tell you real quick on the don't try this at home. One of my, I remember actually, unfortunately, I think I told this a few weeks ago on Sportswire. The reason they said don't try this at home, there was a kid who famously killed his sister. He threw her, he did a rock bottom like onto like I guess in his house, and he killed his sister. It was little sister. They
Oh
were
wow.
actually practicing wrestling. Yeah, and it was a big thing. And I remember like they had it was all over the news, and this kid he's big dude. He wound up killing his sister. He rock bottomed her, and she hit her head onto the I guess to the wooden floor where she lived, and she died unfortunately. And this kid
Oh
actually
wow.
wound up going to jail. I'm pretty sure because they tried him as an adult. He was a minor, but he was kind of an adult. What I forget the exact details. And I remember WWF at the time had to put out a whole thing. Kids, don't try this at home. So I remember as a kid, not really wrestling because of the fear that this is going to happen to you. So
Right.
yeah, don't try this at home. I remember the story. So if you're out there and other backyarders that may not really have the training skills, if you want to wrestle names like Anthony Steele or James Taylor and everybody else, you might want to consider or evaluate those plans. But obviously each to his own. But don't try this at home if you don't know what you're doing. Would be my
Right. Yeah. See, with us, like, yeah, like we're not professionals, but the thing
no,
is that we do the best that we can, and the thing is, we all know the sacrifices that we make, especially
absolutely.
especially when we start. Anything can happen, and
Absolutely. No, listen, there are certain people that have at least some form of training or have some form of level of what they know. And there are other people that, I don't know if they necessarily should be in a ring. Again, each to its own. I'm not in the business of telling people how they should run their organizations or companies, but there are certain people that have abilities and other people, I would wish them well and hope that they would, try to figure or evaluate what they should be doing more or less.
right. Yeah.
You know.
Especially you want to try new moves. Just
Well,
practice a little
yes,
bit.
and
But yeah.
and things can happen out there. So, who were your favorite wrestlers? Obviously, Undertaker, I would imagine, would be one of them. So, who would be some
So
of your favorite wrestlers?
so Undertaker, Jeff Hardy,
I hear Jeff Hardy a
uh,
lot.
yeah, CM Punk, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, of course. Um,
Oh, you love James Taylor then. He is like the guy for Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has 2 million likes on TikTok because of one of his posts. He's like a celebrity, James Taylor. He's a
oh,
big time celebrity. Yeah, he has 64,000 followers on TikTok. People seem to know him. They
well,
like
there's
him.
a well, there's a picture out there, and I ain't gonna say where, but there's a
Oh,
picture out there that for one Halloween, I was 12 years old, maybe younger. I can't
if you
remember.
had the fish, I see where this is going. I see where this is
I
going.
I there was a Hulk Hogan costume, and by God, I put it on, and I went Halloween with it. I was Hulk Hogan. I was happy with it. I loved it.
Yeah, I knew that. And speaking of stunners, James Taylor. There's a big debate in the backyard if he has the best stunner over Soldier GP stunner. But James's stunner, I've actually watched it on the air and covered it and called it. James Taylor has maybe the best stunner other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's better than Kevin Owens stunner, and I love Soldier, but James Taylor has been, the man for stunners. So if you ever want to
Right.
watch a guy that does stunners, just put James Taylor and or Taft Taylor on YouTube, and it'll come up. And he is definitely the man when it comes to all of that. But okay, so he obviously mentioned Jeff Hardy. I could see Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster,
Yeah.
and the Undertaker, and you
See,
mentioned some great names. Yep.
the thing is also, I'm not a big John Cena fan. I'm not. I'm not one of the. I'm not like CJ.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he's got the music for. I did like Cena. I won't lie and say that I
I
would say I generally fell along the lines of a Cena fan. I have to say I supported Cena over The Rock actually. When The Rock came back years ago and Cena ironically now is a hypocrite because he left WWE for acting, but I sided with Cena at that moment. But yeah, I mean I did like Cena. I don't know, it's kind of run its course, but I
yeah.
I was a Cena fan during Ruthless Aggression. I was always like Super Cena. He kept coming back against the likes of Edge, Randy Orton, Umaga, the Nexus. I gotta be honest, I was behind John Cena. I gotta be honest. I was behind him all those years. Yep.
No, yeah. Let's not forget Edge. Huge, huge,
Oh, I think that rivalry with Edge
huge.
and John Cena might have been for our generation, maybe one of the greatest feuds of all time, really.
And then Randy Orton, and there's a different version. It's 2008 through 2010 Randy Orton, where he was just
Oh
straight
my
up bald
god. I
head.
mean,
The pun, yeah,
he punted. I mean, Stephanie McMahon, he punted. Vince McMahon, he punted. I mean, he literally went after the entire roster. I mean, yeah, I mean, Randy Orton's run, even with Edge, with the original RKO and that stuff was great. And I want to repeat this just one more time for James Taylor. Napalm is a part of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Legendary Backyard Wrestling, which is on Instagram, they're on YouTube, and they're on Twitter. And I'm actually going to give you the banner right here to check them out. So they're actually Instagram, they're on Twitter, and they're on Threads. Actually, they're technically on Twitter, but they're really on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. And you can check them out here because I've actually put the links in the description. So yeah, I mean, John Cena was on another level, but Randy Orton, that run he had in the late 2000s into the early 2010s was just out of this world. Out of
Oh
this
yeah.
world.
And see, there was one group that I also like was also the Nexus. I
Yeah,
like the Nexus. Nexus are good.
yeah. What
Uh,
I didn't like is how they got killed off though. The next was just this
no,
unstoppable group, and then it was like they really dropped them down. Then they brought CM Punk into the group, and it was like dissolved.
yeah. See, I was actually there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the Nexus were in the ring and John Cena came out and one at a time, Chris Jericho, Edge, Bret the Hitman Hart,
Yes, I remember
and
that.
they yeah, that was cool to see it up in
Although I
person and
wasn't a
see him.
fan of Bret the Hitman Hart's
I
sort of
wasn't
one in 2010, I wasn't a fan of
I
that.
wasn't either because it was just beating a dead horse, in my
Yep,
opinion. You
exactly.
know?
I couldn't agree with you more. It was like it's over. He can't wrestle, he can't do anything, and he's a shell of himself.
Oh
He
yeah.
wanted to have the match with Vince, fine, and move on, but they let him hang around for a while, and that was man. I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to get to them in a
Okay.
second. But my first one is Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't know if you know this or not, but there was a famous player from the New York Knicks who's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, John Starks, who's famous for basketball fans. He actually had a dunk that they still play sometimes on the NBA network. I'm not sure if you're a basketball fan, and he actually dunked on Michael Jordan. He did a reverse tomahawk, and it was during the NBA playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals in New York. He's kind of a legend for this dunk, and he dunked. He's like the only person ever to have dunked on Michael Jordan. So he's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he actually got his start. He was actually bagging groceries, and he was in the CBA, which was big at one time, and he played for the Golden State Warriors, and the New York Knicks discovered him, and he became probably one of the greatest New York Knicks players of the 1990s. So that's one for Tulsa, Oklahoma. And how many people ask you about Jim Ross?
A lot. Our good old
Good old
Jim
JR. Yep.
Raw. Yeah.
Or
Yeah, a
Grilling
lot.
with JR now is the podcast with Conrad and Thompson is now. It's Grilling with JR. So
See, I'm a football guy. I am.
okay.
Josh Jacobs. I don't know if you know him, but
Yes. Yes.
he just went to Green Bay.
Absolutely know Josh Jacobs very well. I mean, he was a big part of the Raiders offense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But the thing is that I root for Oklahoma State University and not Oklahoma Sooners.
Oh, you're not a Boomer Sooner.
So, no.
Well, you had Barry Sanders years ago, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, well, also Billy Sims.
Yep.
But regardless,
yeah, Billy Sims was a better college player, but Barry Sanders is an all-time overall better player.
Yes.
See, I know football. I'm impressed with that. I know football.
Yeah, I am. See, but because here's the thing, I love JR. I did until I heard his theme song for the very first time.
Oh, you heard
yeah. And I was like, no.
Yeah, you would not have liked that. No, you definitely would have not liked that. Okay, that makes sense. And the Cowboys and Sooners have a huge rivalry, and the Sooners have been, well, I would say overall more successful than the Cowboys. But
listen, I just wanted to say Oklahoma State whooped OU for the very last time for a while. So I'm going to take that and call it good because OU is now with the SEC. They're going to go face Wilster's team.
Yeah, this SEC. I mean, it's become like a super conference. It's almost like the SEC is their own league almost now. It's not even. I can't even keep up with these conferences anymore. Let me get to some questions here. Yes. I have another question for Napalm. What are your thoughts on Cody and Seth versus The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
So that one. So I think it's just, for one, it's just WWE trying to push up how WrestleMania. Make it big. The thing is, I just think it's stupid. I really do. It's just because here's the thing: you have Cody, Seth, and Roman who has to face twice in WrestleMania. They have to face the main event of night one, and then Cody and Roman has to face main event night two. And then Seth has to face against Drew McIntyre that next night as well. But the thing is, it's just like it's just pushing it. It's just pushing it a little bit too far. I believe that that Cody and Seth will win night one.
Really? Because I think The
I
Rock
do.
and Roman are going to win.
No, I think they'll win night one some weird way possible because
I think The Rock and Roman win because of the whole thing with the bloodline, but then I think that Seth is 50-50 on winning night two, but I think Cody's winning against Roman.
we'll see. Here's the thing is though is that okay? So I don't know if night one or night two if Jimmy's facing Jay. I don't know that
Good
part
question. Yeah, I don't know that.
because whichever they're facing, then on night two, if it's on night two, how the hell is Jimmy going to be able to be part of the bloodline and interfere? You know what I mean?
So wouldn't it
takes
make sense if he's night one?
Probably, but that's also depends on who wins on night one. I believe that maybe Cody and Seth are going to win night one, and I don't see Cody winning against Roman at all.
Well, part of me actually kind of agrees with you. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Cody wins the story, but I also think that how many more times can you keep talking about this story? You know what I'm saying?
But the thing, it's always the same thing every time. Every time, it's the
I
same
think
thing.
there
And
is a
honestly,
level, there's a level of doubt in people or a level of thought that Roman always wins and that he'll keep winning and that maybe they'll go with The Rock and Roman instead for the title
right?
at SummerSlam. If
Yeah,
you're going to go down that road.
right. It's just the thing is, it's just going to piss a lot of people off, especially for how much hype
I
there
mean, in
is into it.
Philadelphia is a very tough environment in general for sports. And, and I will come back to legendary wrestling in a second because James Taylor has a great question for it, which will segue into a few more thoughts. But I really think that in that environment in Philadelphia, it's different when Roman won in Tampa a few years ago or, Roman won in Texas or, anywhere else that they've had WrestleMania these last 3 or 4 years. But in Philadelphia, knowing that crowd, knowing that environment, I'm kind of skeptical. Part of me says that Roman gets out of the building alive if he retains. That's my only
Yeah,
thought. But I kind of agree with you that I still think there's a possibility that Roman retains because he's been champion so long,
right. It's just
But I don't think Cody can ever be a credible world champion if he doesn't win it. If he doesn't win this one, I really don't think you can keep going back and saying finish the story. That's my opinion. I
no,
think if he doesn't win it now, it's like this guy is like he's branded a permanent loser in a way. I mean, WWE, I'm sure will work him still in main storylines, but
here's also the thing though, and I'll finish off on this.
sure, absolutely.
Is
The floor is yours.
is
You're
is
Napalm. You can
is,
talk whatever you want.
is that it doesn't surprise me that they brought out The Rock so close to WrestleMania. And the thing is, I'm actually not surprised that they didn't make it just Rock versus Roman. And the reason why I say this because this is what's been hyped up forever, ever since Roman became champion, is that The Rock needs to face Roman. Like I see memes about it on TikTok and stuff like that, and even that little mini or Rock's Life TV show that they have going on. It's like they brought a little bit of child Roman.
Well, even
and
Hobbs and listen, in Hobbs and Shaw, Roman had a main part in Hobbs and Shaw, not a main part, but a slight minor role in that. So there's definitely been history there for a long time.
Right, and so I just think it only feels right because I believe CM Punk should have won the Royal Rumble and was able to face Seth, right? Because those two have a big feud. That's a big feud that would be a hell of a fucking.
I think because the history, the history there was like it was written all over. But then we'll never know. What if CM Punk doesn't get injured? He gets injured, and
Right, and the thing is, it's just then we have Rock versus Roman, which also is huge because that's what anybody and everybody's been talking about.
Well, that's the one true money match that's out there for casual fans that might want to tune in to see. That's kind of, in a way, maybe the modern version of Hulk and Andre. If there was ever a Hulk and Andre match out there in the world, that's probably the match.
Right. It's just that last year we got Rock versus Roman, and of course we've seen what happened. Bloodline got involved, Solo got involved, and it was over. But the thing is, now you got blood against blood. You got the tribal chief versus the people's champ, The Rock. I just think that would have been probably a better main event.
No, listen, I think that there's going to be, we're going to see how this all unfolds, and I want to put it out there. The Rock hasn't wrestled a real match since John Cena. I mean, I'm not counting the goofy, 2-second match he had against Eric Rowan years ago. He hasn't had a real match since WrestleMania 28. I mean, so we're talking about The Rock. There's no telling what he can do in the ring. I'm going to hold off on James one more thing. And yes, thank you for that. Yes. And do you think that Randy Orton should win the United States Championship? I'll let you answer that one because Ethan want to move.
Randy, yes. Randy,
Yeah.
yes. He's had a long time out. He like, and him coming back and better than ever, honestly. Like he is more jacked than he
I don't know
was
how Randy
before.
Orton got more jacked and he'd been out of the ring for like 18 months. I don't know how
Yeah.
that's feasible.
I don't know, but he's in great shape. And I believe that he should beat Logan Paul and have a championship wrapped around his waist.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
sounds much more pleasant to me. And the thing is,
yeah.
technically, Randy already had him beat before, so like, why wouldn't
You don't
he have
think
him
though
beaten
that
now?
Randy Orton should be the guy to break Ric Flair's record?
Yeah. Oh, 100%, especially since him and Randy worked together in Evolution, when
I
I
mean,
think that would be
somebody has to. I mean, at this point, it's either going to be Randy. John Cena's not going to win another championship, despite what anybody could say. It's either going to be Randy Orton or Charlotte Flair. I mean, it's really either one of those. They're the only ones that really have a chance. There's
right.
nobody else currently that's going to, John Cena, yes, technically is tied, but I don't think anybody thinks he's going to win another championship at this point. He basically said today
No.
that he's not wrestling past 50 and he's turning 47. So that means
Yeah. And see,
he's
the thing
done.
is, he basically already called it anyways. And every time that John Cena's been wrestling, every time he's came back to wrestle
Never
a
wins.
pay-per-view or something,
Yeah,
it's always a
and,
loss. It's always
and
a
he had the
loss.
match with Roman a couple years ago at SummerSlam and didn't win. That was the moment, and they didn't have it. So to me, I mean, I'm just curious, but yeah, I could see Randy winning against Logan Paul. I just rather see Randy win one more world title or two more world titles and break Ric
Right.
Flair's record.
Well,
That's
see, and
all.
the thing is, this goes back in the WrestleMania. Say Cody wins, right?
Yep,
Cody wins. He battled Roman and stuff. The only person who really knows Cody the best is the
Randy.
man who made
He started
Legacy.
his career. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yeah,
and Randy wins it and calls it good. But
yeah. Listen, I think Cody to me is not a long-term champion. I think
no,
Cody, if he wins at Mania, I'd be shocked if he held it more than
we're not going to
9 months.
see. We're not going to see another Roman 2,000 day type championship. You know what I
Look,
mean?
we're
Like
not going to
no.
see. Listen, Gunther's been champion almost 2 years. He's not. You're not going to see another Intercontinental champion for 2 years. The Usos held the tag titles for 500 days. You're just not going to see that.
Yeah,
Whoever wins the
and
belt.
Bianca hold it for 456 days.
Yeah.
Like we're
Well,
having
Rhea
all these people
Ripley's
who's
coming up on a year. Rhea Ripley's coming up on a year. It was
yeah
WrestleMania last year.
yeah we're having people win titles and they hold on to them
Yeah.
forever. We're not
I don't
seeing
know
that
if I.
constant
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it back in the Attitude Era where guys like held the title for a day or in Sting's case an hour, but when he was the WCW champion, but I don't think it should be like a 4-year running. I don't know what the medium is, but there has to be other people to get it. So I mean, we'll have to see and find out. But I have a good question from James Taylor coming up to final thoughts here on you guys in Legendary Wrestling. But what's the toughest match in your career and how did you overcome it? And what did you learn from that experience? Well, you haven't lost any matches up until today, so obviously I won't
Right.
be
So
annoying.
majority of my matches has been with CJ.
Yep.
My first match was against Ragnarok, and then the one right after that was with Gyro, and then the rest after that point was with CJ.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna have to take it back to this last match that we had. The last match that was all out war between
Not this one today, but the January match.
the January, yeah, back at Backyard
The,
Wrestling Nexus
that was
Resolution.
I was gonna say the BYN show. Yep.
Yeah. That one was what was the hardest because we both were given our all. We were getting everything that we had because technically CJ, what he had to prove is that he was the alpha. He
Yep.
is the
I
alpha.
know. I heard that.
Like
Yep.
like there's no excuses after this point. No, none. Like if you lose this match, you did it all on your own. But if you lost, there's no excuse. There's no crying like, oh, this dude got involved or this happened or like no, like this is like forever. So and I had to prove that I had to dethrone him. I had to take him out, and I had to be the man of my word, was to make him tap. So that's it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of going back at each other and trying to figure out what can I do to get him to tap. And it was finally when I thought after that first spear was that I can reverse this. This is my move. This is what I use to take people out. And if I wanted to be taken out, I would want them to wrap me up and choke the life out of me.
Figuratively and literally, yeah.
And yeah, and
I was gonna say.
that's exactly what I did when he came in and he hit me. I had to power out of the pain to get my arms wrapped underneath him, leg wrapped around, and just squeeze as long and hard as I can, and I wasn't gonna let him pull out.
Sounds like you were delivering a baby just now.
Basically, a big baby, and that's what he is, you know.
Well, he's a very big man. I've had him on here a couple of times, and I'm not going to go down that road. But I want to ask you then, what would it mean to you to regain the United States Championship, especially after everything you've told us tonight? What would it mean to you to once again be the United States champion on behalf of Legendary Backyard Wrestling?
That just means I haven't left. It means I'm still exactly where I was before. You know, still the reigning, defending United States champion, and that's what I like. Having that red, white, and blue wrapped around my waist.
I think
America's badass, you know.
we got to get that song. I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah,
Remember that song? And the USA stand
yeah.
up. That's got to be you at some point. I mean, no, it's a good song. Listen, everybody knows I'm very much a big supporter of our military and first responders. I always tell people the running joke is that they wouldn't want guys like me. They would want to arrest guys like me. But that's a different conversation for a different. I'm only kidding, actually. But it's a joke. But I do want to ask you a couple of other things here before I close out. We're here with Napalm, and of course, please follow our friends at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. They do such a phenomenal job, and I want to give a big shout out to CJ the Alpha Jun for all the great things he does in the sport. But I want to ask you, what would you say to somebody tonight that hasn't got a chance to watch Legendary Backyard Wrestling but is hearing this, and why they should go out and support you guys?
So, I would come out and watch or go to the YouTube channel and see what we do, see what we put out there, what hearts from all different types of people, going from Ref Fajito to me, Ragnarok, Gyro, Pinball Aiden,
Just Ice,
everybody. You know, see, let us entertain you and have a good time and keep you on your toes, because that's all we like to do is entertain people and keep people on their toes and put our hearts, all of our sweat, blood, and tears and hearts into every match that we go into.
Amen.
Come out and give us a chance. You know.
Amen.
And if you're close and we're having our pay-per-view that's coming up, Golden Ticket, that's in April.
Yep.
If you don't be afraid to hit us out if you're up in North Dakota around that time when we're doing that. You know, we'd like to have you come. We always like new faces and new people.
I wish I lived in North Dakota. I'd be out there with a chair and on the lawn and watching you guys. I mean, I would love that. I just wish I lived closer to North Dakota. But I hope if you're out there, or if you're like me, not near the North Dakota area, to check these guys out on YouTube. They do such a phenomenal job. They have over 1,350 subscribers. They have so much content. Golden Ticket is obviously next month. We have more shows ahead, and I want people to support this great company because they do so many great things, and Napalm is definitely going to be back with us here during the season. I'm so excited. We have coverage coming up here very soon. Ragnarok is coming on here, and it was supposed to be Sunday, but we're actually going to move it a few days to sometime next week, but we're very excited to have him on. Obviously, the Wilster will definitely be here because he always wants to be back on Sportswire. I love the Wilster. Well, maybe I don't love him on the screen because so much PBS will certainly maybe want me to get in the middle of that, but we love everybody here in the company. Chris has been such a great supporter of us, Chris Arud and his family, but I want to ask you this last question. I always do before people are in a big match. Obviously, we talked about that United States Championship and what would it mean to you to regain it. So I ask you, what's your final words to Gyro before the next match we see between you and him for that number one contendership for the championship you never lost?
Well, Gyro, buddy, bring it your all, because I'm giving my all. I whooped you before, and I believe I can whoop you again. And nothing's stopping me in my way to get what I want, and that's rising to the top. So bring out your all. Let's go at it, and let the better man come on top.
Spoken like a true badass. An American badass, probably. A backyard badass from Legendary Backyard Wrestling, I would say check. Maybe the badass of Sportswire Radio, definitely a check. But I know one thing. In the resume of Napalm, very well could be the red, white, and blue championship he desires once again around his waist, and that is the United States Championship. And he will be one step closer to that as he returns to the ring here to basically recover from what happened here earlier today on Throwdown Episode 8 in his triple threat match against Pinball Aiden and the Psychotic Freak. He will recover from that and try to become the number one contender to the United States Championship. We will have to see and find out here shortly. And again, check out Legendary Backyard Wrestling on all of their channels and support Napalm as well. He does a great job outside the ring. Also, thank you once again, one more time, for your service. We thank you so much for that, for fighting for our freedoms to do these things here on Sportswire Radio, which is nothing compared to what guys like you do out there in the real world. And also, James Taylor, if you ever want to speak to guys like Napalm, definitely hit up Legendary Backyard Wrestling, and I'll tell the likes of Napalm to hit you up. I'll give him your information, James Taylor, when we're off the air. But he'll have a great story, and I think you'd have a lot of great things to share with your audience as well. But I want to give you the floor, my friend. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity, and thank you for all you do here on behalf of this great sport and making it all wrestling that matters. And, I want to give you the floor. Anything else you'd like to say? I want to put that up there one more time so people can see it. And fire away, my friend, and be my guest.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out and listen to me rattle on and being able to be here and support me and Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Once again, please come subscribe to our YouTube, to our Instagram, everything. And thank you again. I am honored and more than grateful to be here. So thank you, Tom, for letting me be here to speak to everybody and have a hell of a good time.
Oh, listen, not just you. You're always welcome anytime. But listen, the guys here have been, like I said, I can't say this enough. CJ has been a friend for a long time. I am always proud to support him, and I'm always so proud to support his company. Everybody in the company has always been first class with me, you included. So to me, this was an easy one. This was a layup, a no-brainer. So no, it's not just letting you know. You're always welcome. The floor is always welcome to anybody here, because we're about all wrestling matters. We're about giving people a voice, because that's what's it about here. As Hillbilly Tilly said so eloquently last week, true backyard wrestling is guys who do it for the love of wrestling. And this company, Legendary Backyard Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, does it for the love of wrestling. And that's why they're welcome anytime. Anybody else otherwise that is welcome anytime to come on to Sportswire, because the people's house, it's your house. You've made it that way. You've helped me, and I can't be anywhere without people that tune in each and every time. And Legendary Backyard Wrestling have been great supporters. You have been as well. And my friend, thank you so much for all you've done here in this sport. Thank you so much for coming back here. And it was a lot of fun going over the match and calling it and talking about it with you in a blow by blow. We'll do more of that, I have no doubt, as the season certainly kicks off here and gets into full gear. And can't wait to watch you against Gyro. And I'm looking forward to the Golden Ticket show as well. And thank you for all you do here on and certainly off the ring. And also, God bless you and everybody that out there fights for our freedoms. And I cannot wait to talk with you soon. I'm looking forward to your match coming up here with Gyro, and definitely talking with you again very soon. Maybe next time, if you want, maybe induct you into this thing called the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, maybe.
That would be a hell of an honor right there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think you got certainly a great resume, and I think that the next time you come back onto the platform in the next month or two, if you would certainly have the time, I think that the next certificate will be your place into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So,
that's amazing, and I can't wait to be back.
And we can't wait to have you. And we thank everybody here in Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And we were here with the one and only Napalm, who just wrestled here at Throwdown Episode 8 in a triple threat match against Pinball Aiden and the Psychotic Freak. Although he came up short, he did not get a pin or was forced to submit. So he's still technically undefeated, and he'll continue to put that streak of not being pinned or forced to submit against Gyro in a match for the number one contendership for the United States Championship of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, tomorrow, same time, same bad channel, we're going to be here with a slew of guys in the IMF's St. Patrick's Day Massacre Show, so you will not want to miss that one. And again, we'll also be here Friday with the regular Sportswire Radio Show. We're going to, in one half, cover the things that happened at SmackDown and AEW and get you ready for WrestleMania. And the other half, we're talking football. Actually, a lot of football talk in the world. So check that all out here. So we're back 10 o'clock tomorrow, 10 o'clock Friday. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global ration that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And thank you so much one more time to Napalm. It's Napalm Day here on Sportswire Radio. Go celebrate him and go celebrate our friends over at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And I'll see everybody tomorrow.